to the podcast, everyone. I'm Will, and I got my co-host over here, the Gree. Say hello, Gree.
What's up, everybody? I'm alive and well. Let's do this.
Yeah, we are going to get into some whiskey news, as we like to do, but you may be wondering, like, man, y'all started going strong with that whiskey news and then kind of disappeared.
Yeah, for like 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, there was like Thanksgiving holiday, and we
Yeah.
were like, okay, well, you were out of town, I was out of town. Obviously, that's a wash, right? And then I was sick. I had like a little mild cold, didn't feel well one fateful Monday.
One week, yeah.
And then Grease almost died.
Yeah.
So you want to go ahead and say what happened? And, and now we are finally back, and you did not indeed die, but you are here.
Okay, I'm going to go like 30,000 foot view real quick story.
Yeah.
Basically, I felt horrible to the point where I had to go get IV fluids, and that didn't really help too much. I was diagnosed with the flu, even though I tested negative. I go into the ER after fighting this for 5 days, and I have 104.9 fever, and my entire lower left quadrant of my lung is infected with pneumonia.
Yeah.
So,
you spent how many nights in the hospital?
3 nights, 4 days.
Which is nice they admitted you, because then that old emergency room fee
100%
gets wiped away.
Yeah, exactly right.
Yeah.
Like I beat the system.
Yeah, as you do.
One time in 2024. Yeah. Now, before all this, I did get served with a lawsuit on my front door by a police officer.
Sheriff's deputy. Sheriff's deputy.
Fair. Sheriff. Yeah, it's a county situation.
Yeah, it's a constitutional office.
That was ironed out, but that was a fun 24 hours.
Yeah.
I was not at fault at all. Just want everybody to know that.
For once.
I told Will, I was like, dude, we should call an episode Grease Gets Overserved.
Yeah.
And I thought that was cute, but then no
one would get the joke.
They wouldn't. Well, I mean, I would explain it super quick.
Right.
However, everybody would be like, I clicked on this because I wanted to see him slammed.
Yeah, but it was just more like slammed by the strong arm of the law is what was happening.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, that even started. We were going to record the Monday before you were admitted in the hospital, and you texted. It was like, man, I'm just not feeling great. Like, I don't think I'm sick.
Lauren broke a rib.
Okay.
Wait, I forget about that.
I don't know how you guys are still kicking, but my goodness.
I did explain to Will, I said, Will, I'm just going to list all the things that have happened in the last 2 months. And Will is just like, I've never heard of so much bad. Like, some would say like monumental things.
Yeah.
Like
any one of these would have like derailed someone's daily life for a significant amount of time.
Yeah. There were some small things like, dishwasher broke. Like, yes, that's a small thing. It's just on top of this mountain, and you're just like, stop it. Just quit.
Stop.
Like, nobody touch me. And then, and I actually said 2024 sucked before I went to the hospital.
Before you even got to the end. That's why I always hold your tongue, man.
Yeah. Don't ever piss on a year until it's over.
Yeah.
It gets mad and it bites back.
I will say we texted a group of our loyal PodCask friends that this, and if you guys didn't think that we are the real deal about what the stuff we talk about and who we are. So Grease had spent 4 days, 3 nights in the hospital, got out the day before Christmas Eve. So December 22nd in the afternoon, like late afternoon, you didn't get home till, and not 24 hours later, my family, after the Christmas Eve service at church, we decided, as you do, we're going to the Waffle House.
You either go Christmas Eve or you go Christmas Day.
We drove by the good Waffle House, and it was a little busy.
You passed.
So we sauntered down to the bad Waffle House.
Everybody knows what we mean.
Yeah, they know.
If you don't, if you're unfamiliar with Waffle House, there's a bad one and a good one within your county.
Yeah,
like everybody knows.
The good one's a Waffle House. The other one's a Waffle House that has parking lot shootings.
Yeah.
So we went to the bad Waffle House. It's
basically hibachi of the South. Yeah. Jump in.
So we get there and go in to see how long the wait is, and lo and behold, who do we run into? Our family runs into the Grease's family on Christmas Eve, not 24 hours after he was discharged from the emergency room, from the hospital, from his long stay unexpectedly on Christmas Eve.
So we look at
each other a hug.
I might have cried a good bit.
You definitely did. But
Guys,
you also just thought you were on death's door. Your wife sent a picture of you getting that IV.
I'll put it up right here.
That is the most shocking thing. Like,
and it was 24 hours
before you were even admitted to
I didn't have 104.9 fever then.
I know.
My wife took me to the ER just because I was literally talking to myself and not making sense.
Well, and normally
with a fever that high, I'm assuming that's par.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm saying normally with you, that isn't something you get admitted to the ER for, but it was the fever that was the kicker. She's like, I mean, this is normal
Bipolar
behavior,
disorder
however.
moved to schizophrenia
real fast. That's the second time we've finished each other's sentences. That's how glad we are to be back together.
We're so excited.
Yeah.
No, I did at one point. I literally just said I was so exhausted with fighting and concentrating on my body and literally like trying to fight whatever it is off. I didn't have the TV on or music on. I didn't even check my phone. I couldn't pick it up. Like I literally was so exhausted and tired. I couldn't pick up my phone. I had 547 missed text messages. Nobody knew except for like Will and two other people that I was even in the hospital because I couldn't, I just didn't text people.
Yeah. Yeah. You said you literally didn't have the energy to pick up your phone.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is,
and if you know how hard Grease goes in text threads, if he doesn't have the energy to pick up his phone, he is very much
out of it,
not feeling his finest.
Out of pocket. So yeah, it was pretty, when the doctors say you've got pneumonia,
yeah,
you don't want to hear the double one. The triple one's even worse, but like the double one, they got me on some crazy antibiotics, and within after 2 days of it or whatever, I actually was like, I am feeling better for the first time in a week.
Yeah.
I didn't eat for like a week, so that was great. So I didn't have any sodium in my body because I wasn't. Don't even worry about it.
Yeah,
we're getting into the details.
Oh,
I did have an IV blow.
Oh yeah, tell them about that. That's always this is good whiskey talk.
Yeah, I was going in for a CT scan. I go in there and they have to put in your IV this stuff called contrast so that the machine can see it. Well, anyway, the guy hooks me up. He goes to the back room with the window because there's radiation and stuff they hide, right? He starts pushing the contrast and the pressure gets so big because it doesn't move through. It burst my IV. I won't tell you, but it was I haven't seen Saw, but I feel like Saw would look like something in Saw.
It was a horror film.
It was bad.
Yeah.
Rush in. He has to call some backup. Essentially,
there was a Russian.
No, he rushed in.
Got it.
Okay.
No, sorry.
No. Okay. Anyway, guys, it's been fun. I would say thank you for your thoughts and prayers, but nobody knew.
Yeah.
So, but I'm alive and I'm here and I'm so happy. I made it by Christmas. I did miss my kid's birthday, which was super emotional, but we did get back to Christmas, and I just sat there Christmas morning. I was like, I don't care what presents I get. I was like, I am here. Like legit. It was scary.
He was like old, It's a Wonderful Life in it. Like he was just happy to be alive.
100%. I'm still happy to be alive.
George
today.
Bailey saw his life.
Honestly, I feel like there was enough trauma involved with that number one, I do need to see my therapist. But number two, I think that I have a different appreciation for a lot of things. I mean, one, my health for sure. So anyway, but let me go ahead and tell you something. What the doc can't tell me to do. Start drinking whiskey.
I mean, he can.
I mean, he can say it, but it's my body, my choice.
Oh my gosh. All right.
Can I say that?
I mean, sure. You're allowed
for everybody.
You're allowed to say whatever you want.
Right.
I mean, I don't. I've learned a long time ago that I can't stop you from speaking. So.
Right. Or thinking.
All right, you want to get into some whiskey news?
I would love to get into some whiskey.
All right,
news.
first I want to.
Are we going to talk about the Glens?
Yeah, we will in a second. Out of a Glencairn though, to start this off, we're going to drink a little Hogback Black Boar barrel. Gree's got a lot of. He picked up our mail before he got admitted to the hospital. So a lot of this stuff's just been sitting over here for weeks. And I was starting to get texts from Chris P. He was like, hey, Don't let him lose those samples.
Yeah.
They're good ones. And so we're going to do two things that Chris P sent us tonight because
Have I ever really
here.
lost them?
Yes.
I know I've found them every time.
No, sometimes you drank them. And so they were lost to you before. You're like, I didn't know they were just for, I thought they were just for me. All right. So this, though, is from Hogback Distillery. We love Hogback. We did a pick with them with Oak and Thieves. They do like an aspen stave finish in some of their stuff. Just really unique, beautiful whiskey, especially for the age. It's incredible. Graham over there is really cool as well. So this is the Black Boar barrel. It's a 10-year-old bourbon, 131.6 proof. It was in the back of their rick house for years. They didn't distill this one because of the age. They haven't been around that long. But it tasted so good at 4 years old, they knew it was destined to become a special release. Time has played its magic, it says. It was a greedy angel share, they say. There was only 13 gallons left out of the 53-gallon barrel.
Whoa.
So there was only 60 bottles of this.
So
and
did
Chris
they have
P
to pay?
send us 2 ounces. That's like $1,000 pour.
I wonder what the law is out there. Is it federal law as far as the taxes? As far as
That's
like
a Kentucky thing.
it is a Kentucky thing.
Yeah. About
Okay, so they're probably in a little bit better situation.
I don't know. It's Colorado.
That is true. I feel Colorado's chill and cool as crap.
Nah, I think they get you though. I think
Cheers
they
to
hit that
THC
pocketbook.
for that one.
Yeah. All right. So here we go. We'll try this and then we'll get into some news because we know that's why you're here.
Now, I will say this: the first time we had Hogback with Chris P at Whiskey Weekend, I think it was batch 3.
Oh, it smells great.
I tasted this, not the 10-year, but it was like 4 years old, and it was their own distillate. This is not, but they blinded me on it, James Smith and Chris P. And I said, this feels like Four Roses.
Yeah.
And it was because obviously the profile reminded me of it and somewhat, but I thought it was 8 years minimum.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Great oak influence. It didn't taste young. It didn't have that. I think, is it pot stilled?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's got a robust flavor to it.
Yeah, leave some of those esters in it and stuff.
Yeah, I mean it was so good.
It's unreal.
The I need to circle back.
Oh, I think it's incredible. You just circle back.
Do you get mint?
Take your Zen out.
The what?
Now try it.
I thought you told me to take my Zen out because it was noticeable in my cheek. No, you're
tasting
talking
mint. Yeah.
Okay, that's a good point.
All right, James Smith over here. Can't do a tasting without a dip in.
Way better. Way better. What? But I don't know what notes I'm getting.
I get a lot of, very, very oaky. Obviously,
I get the oak.
Strong oak, vanilla, maybe some, not nougat. What am I thinking of? Like a turtle. You know what those are? Like a pecan, chocolate, caramel candy.
Yeah, it's just called it's called a turtle.
Yeah, that's what I just said, like a turtle. I'm not licking the back of an old box turtle. I'm talking
not
about,
moose tracks.
No, specifically a turtle. I don't know. It's got some like
You're not gonna like me on this.
Okay.
You're not gonna like it.
I like the whiskey.
Complexity and profile is not there for me.
It's
not interesting.
It's an upfront punch of flavor. The finish doesn't go away, but it's just not that robust that you get up front doesn't hang out. It decides we're going to move on to a different party, but it still has a good finish. The mouth feels great for 131 proof. It is not shockingly hot.
It's got heat, but no, not.
But it's not astringent
I would never
at
say it's
all.
130.
No.
110 is probably where I'd put it. 110, 115.
I think this is really good. I don't know what it would have cost, but they only had 60 bottles. So
I bet it was $200.
I'm guessing $200. And you know, like I would support a distillery like Hogback with that for a limited release like that. It's now compared to some other 10-year-old bourbons that are high proof that are, I mean, you think about, I mean, even like Booker's not 10 years old, 7, some batches better than others. This is obviously a single barrel. But I mean, this kind of flirts
13
with
gallon small batch.
that. Yeah, I mean, this flirts with that kind of profile, though. Maybe a little bit more soft because Booker's sometimes, because it's only sometimes in the mid 6s years of age in the batch. So I don't know. I'm trying to think of a 10-year cask strength that I don't know. Yeah, but it's going to be $200 just because they had a whole barrel and only had 13 gallons left. I guarantee you it's at least that.
Here's my take.
Yeah.
Hogback. I love your distillate.
Yeah, this tastes nothing like a Hogback.
It's delicate. It's robust. It's got character to it. This has some character, but it doesn't go anywhere for me. Yeah, the flavor punch is there, but then immediately after, like mid palate, I'm starting to get like just like muted corn notes. Like it's not like, ooh, this is young. It's like it's not young, but there's like an astringency like there, and it's just it feels kind of like something was just erased on paper. Yeah. That's what it feels like. Yeah. That's a weird thing to say.
See, I get mid palate a ton of sweetness on it.
On the front, I do. I get a ton of sweetness.
After I've drank it and just let it sit there, I just get a ton of sweetness just kind of hanging out there. But I mean, I really like it. I don't know the price. I'm not even going to do a buy bar pass because this thing's gone.
It is gone.
And it was a special barrel.
If it was available, though, I would pass. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would say, though, go support Hogback because I like the stuff they're making. I like their Aspen finished bourbon. I think that it is really cool. It's younger stuff that tastes older, like you said. Support Hogback in any way you can. Gree says he'd pass on this one. That's easy for him to say because he's never going to get the opportunity to buy. But
I'm gauging it off. I'm gauging it off, probably a very high price point when Hogback stuff for $70 is fabulous. So yeah, I'm knocking their 10-year offering special release of 13 gallons, but it's also not their distillate.
I can't wait till their distillate is 10 years old.
100,000%. Yeah. Like I can't. I don't even know. I can't even imagine that. Honestly, and I don't even know what it would do. Like I would be super interested to see if it was over oaked because of just the oak influence that it gets at such an early age. That would be interesting to know. We're gonna get there. It's gonna happen.
I'm gonna say, based off what it did sell for, I'm a pass as well. It was above our 200 price point.
What was it?
I'm seeing if they say on their press release. I don't want to give away my source.
Oh,
the person who bought it.
Yeah, because
But I would just say,
not a producer.
It's 10-year MG. I mean, he basically is. He gave us samples, but it was close to 300.
Yeah, okay.
It was on the near side of 300. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I would like to support them. If I were in person at the distillery, you probably would have twisted my arm in FOMO and I would have bought it. I really like it. I don't know. I know why they had to price it at that because they're a tiny distillery trying to get by.
13 gallons and you got to pay for that barrel.
Yeah. So I fully understand why they may have not even broken even on that sourced barrel,
right?
Keeping it that long, not that there's necessarily the taxes involved, but just the real estate in your rick house and whatever you bought it for 10 years ago, or however it may have been 4 years when they bought it. Yeah. And so they've had it for 6 years. And
how many liters make up a gallon?
I don't know.
I don't either.
I'm not a communist,
but I'd be, as far as if you gave me a Hogback let's just say a 4-year product of their distillate and this, I promise you in a blind, I would pick the Hogback.
Yeah.
Like the distillate there.
All right, let's get to some whiskey news. You know when I love a good lawsuit.
Yes.
This is Glencairn taking legal action against a California firm over, quote, copyright infringements. So Glencairn, as we all know, is the most famous and original official whiskey glass.
Is it? That's I feel like it's not self-proclaimed.
It is self-proclaimed because they were the first glass that was specifically made and saying this is a whiskey glass. Like other snifters and tuliped glasses and things of that nature probably weren't originally designed for whiskey, but they also are more used in like cognac and sherry have been in like that tasting world more used in their own type of goblets and things of that nature. So they say that they were the first official whiskey glass. And I mean, yes, that is self-proclaimed, but it's probably not inaccurate that they are the first one designed and expressly made for the tasting of whiskey. Yeah. So
and honestly, well priced. When it came out and everybody was snagging them up.
You can get them cheap on Amazon right now. You can get like 6 for $30 or something.
Yeah, but I would argue, is that truly the Glencairn brand?
Well, that's what we don't know. I mean, yes, the ones that come in the Glencairn boxes, the ones I bought come in the official box.
Right. But Alibaba.
And it's got that old... I don't know. The official Glencairns have it etched in the bottom, the Glencairn glass. Yeah. So
I think this company that ripped them off, what was it? Something in gear?
So it's Wine and Gear. It's a California-based firm, and they sell wholesale wine, ware, and all sorts of things. But they have a Glencairn glass. I said they call them Glencairn whiskey glasses, and you can get them at wholesale prices. You can get 144 plus for $13.95 a piece, which is expensive.
That's expensive.
But all of these, they they give the whole thing, and it gives you the impression that it is the Glencairn whiskey glass, and Glencairn takes issue with that.
Yeah, as they should.
And said that they're not indeed selling their own. The official Glencairns, they're selling something probably manufactured in China or from some other third party.
Yeah,
they're wholesaling, and they've been advertising it as genuine Glencairn products. This was filed in U.S. District Court for the Eastern District of California, and they say in their filing, Wine and Gear is knowingly exploiting the commercial success and global recognition of the Glencairn trademarks to Wine and Gear's commercial advantage by advertising and selling the infringing products and using the Glencairn trademarks to sell those products. So
go ahead and tell you something. My biggest issue here. Mm-hmm. Okay. Why on God's green earth, if you were going to rip off a glass, why a Glencairn? It's the worst. Let me go ahead and tell you something, people. It is the worst whiskey glass.
I disagree.
It is the worst. If you look, let's just say you're doing a tasting, okay, and you don't like the whiskey in it, and you look aggressively upset at your Glencairn glass, it will bust. It's just gonna break right there on the table, and you don't even have to hit it. You just got to look at it really bad. And let me go ahead and take a poll out there in the comments. Why don't you go ahead and tell me how many Glens that you've gone through that have just broken? And if it falls an inch.
Not broken barely any.
Well, I've broken 20.
I think one I literally dropped and it didn't shatter. And I was so mad, I threw it against the wall, still didn't shatter, and had to do it one more time for good measure with a hammer, and it finally did. Second drop. That was the bounce that shattered it.
Yeah, it's because I have really nice floors, Will.
It was the dumbest thing you've done in a long time.
Why?
You're just so happy you've lived that you think you can get away with that kind of crap.
Yeah, I'm blessed, man.
I think I saw on here a minute ago, and I'd be interested in, now I have to search it. I don't even see a search, but I was pretty sure I saw a neat glass, and that is the one that has kind of the flat bottom.
You know what glass you need to rip off?
What?
Actually, don't do that, because...
Don't rip off any glasses if it's got trademarks.
Yeah. You're going to get sued. But if you want to, do terrain glass out of Georgia, hand blows.
It's out of North Carolina.
North Carolina?
Yes.
that was the other thing then. The terrain out of North Carolina hand blows his glasses.
Yeah.
Pretty similar in concept to a lot of whiskey tasting glasses.
Yeah.
Except the glass is like that thick. And I've literally dropped that chest high accidentally just walking around, and she lives.
So here's a double-walled whiskey glass.
Yeah, that one's awful.
This is like the Norland glass that came out a while ago.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, we actually were looking at getting some bulk stuff for like Whiskey Weekend and looking at stuff like the whiskey bags we've gotten, and noticed that a firm in China through Alibaba was offering that glass,
Norland glass,
whether it's who Norland contracted with and they're just selling it as well because they don't really care about intellectual property, or whether or not it was a direct ripoff. It existed, and we even saw it, and we're like, that would be so dirty to just get a bunch of those and sell them in, like, it's like people took time. I mean, there's a reason we protect intellectual property in this country. It's like people take time, they design something, and they should be able to reap the benefits of that.
And they've paid a ton of money in marketing and have been successful enough to sell millions.
And we just saw that and we thought, man, that's really crappy. That being said, like, it existed. We saw that it existed and laughed about it, but that's kind of what this wine and gear is doing. There it is, the Neat Taster. That one we have quite a few of.
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's a trademarked or patented brand, the Neat glass, that these people should go look and potentially join on to that lawsuit.
Well, it looks very similar to the Kinsey.
Kinsey, that's the one I'm thinking.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But I thought it was called the Neat glass, but no, it's the Kinsey.
So it's on their website too.
But they're not taking this as...
Okay. Well, they don't
call it the Kinsey, so maybe they can get away a little bit with it. But I don't know. I don't like the whole thing. I mean...
They're definitely under a microscope right now. That is for sure.
If you're creating a product, I don't know. It's in an American-based company. Yeah, go ahead and sue the crap out of them, because you can go after that type of stuff in America, because we do protect our intellectual property. The founders of the country thought it was actually very important to put those things in our founding documents to protect people's intellectual property, because that creates a robust system of arts and science and creating competition. But then they also had sunsets to it as well. And that's why, like, things go into the public domain, is that
sunset clause.
A sunset clause is normally in like a contract or something. So I don't know if it's a sunset clause per se, but it does have an end time. And so I don't know. That one got me off on a tangent, but we've got another news item. And then there's one other thing I want to bring up too that we didn't discuss, but you'll like it. So then this is Jim Beam launches first ever consumer single barrel program. So this is a Beam private barrel club. They offer the opportunity to select their own single barrel of Knob Creek bourbon or rye directly from the distillery. So this reminds me really of how Jack Daniel's originally did their single barrel program. Before they were like before the craze of going to pick a single barrel, I remember when you took a tour at Jack Daniel's, they told everyone, if you want a single barrel, you can get it. Mm-hmm. You just come here, you pay the money. At the time, it was probably a steal because of comparative prices. But they even had a room of like all the famous people that had come through and done single barrel picks, and you could pick your own single barrel of Jack Daniel's. And they have this direct to consumer program for a long time. And then New Riff does something similar.
Yeah.
And they like
New Riff
theirs.
also too does the quarter and the half barrel.
I assume they still do that.
I actually haven't.
They used to do it where you could do a quarter barrel or a half barrel or the whole barrel. You didn't have to buy the whole barrel, which is cool.
Yeah.
With the similar, it's a lot easier than having to know a guy who knows a guy who's got a liquor store that's got one coming, and you can go. And it got so out of hand. And I think that the market for the single barrels has contracted a lot because everyone kind of was vomiting up single barrels for a long time, that hopefully that'll get back under control. We can start to see more of the single barrels that we like available actually from the retail stores. But I like that they're doing this move from Jim Beam to do the Knob Creek. We've always liked their single barrels.
100%. You know, speaking of going back in the day a little bit, Knob Creek, when you would, I mean, golly, this was maybe 8 years ago. When you went to go pick a single barrel, let's just say, you know, we go up there with Tarak from Elixir, right? We go up there and pick a single barrel. They would bottle it that day.
Yeah.
What I really love about that is that there's no room for profile change.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, yeah, this will be bottled in about 3 months, so it's going to have about
Then
3
I think
more
the
months.
demand got too out of control. But you used to be able at Jim Beam, because they used to have those faux chrome. I'm seeing if you have one.
Oh, yeah. I got
those faux chrome things. Like you would tell them the name in advance.
Yeah.
And you could actually put the labels on yourself while you're there because they're bottling it that day. Like that was a really cool thing. That obviously wasn't the direct to public, but this program details.
So this one they just put like barrels and brews. This is a 14-year 1 month. And then this one right here is Santa's barrel. So you can pretty much
can customize it.
Now
it's just a sticker label because they've got the down sticker at the bottom. But
back then they would standard put the barrel number, and then it would be hand selected by, and then you could put your name in there, and then Fred has his signature on there.
But it is for up to 8 people, the group, and they bottle pricing, they say starts at $59.99, and each barrel typically yields between 100 and 175 bottles. Members must purchase the entire barrel's output from American Outpost. So that's another cool thing.
So
they partnered with an
almost
online,
$11,000.
Well, yeah, I mean, anywhere from 6,000 to 11, depending on the yield, which that makes sense. But they, the fact they're also using an online retailer, American Outpost, like that makes it a little bit different than we've seen, because it used to be back in the day with like Jack Daniels, you still had to have someone with a liquor store license to receive it for you. And so they're fortunately things are getting a little bit better. But
so you've got the online retail game, like you said, but then some of those retailers have state restrictions.
Right.
But I'm wondering,
I'm sure they'll work it out with you.
Well, I'm just wondering if for those states that are affected by that, I wonder if they just can travel to that online retail warehouse and pick it up.
Could be either that, or they can work it out with maybe a local license holder, if that's the way they have to do it.
Yeah.
But this does say, as a difference from, because I know that their logistics have gotten different, but bottling takes 90 to 120 days.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 months to get that bottled. So that's something that's changed. But that was a different world in whiskey back then.
It was.
But then there's also this thing I wanted to bring up.
Is this the thing you said I'm going to like?
Yeah, that I'm bringing it up.
Okay.
Shoot, I don't have that logged in there. But so our buddy Troy got something really cool for Christmas.
Oh, yes.
And it was, and I thought I sent the guy a message. I didn't.
It's basically, you know, when everybody does a blind tasting, like we've done it with Bar Night back in the day when we had that Bar Night series with Chris Thomas and Joe B. Bourbon. You know, you're all wanting to blind yourselves, and there has to be somebody that's controlling the shift. And so we would, you know, do different colors, and then we would write numbers on them, and then we would mix them up and all that stuff. And so it's kind of like a double blind situation. What this product does is it actually helps you do that even just by yourself.
Yeah,
which
you
is
can do
really
a
cool.
solo blind, and I'm trying to find it. He sent a picture. It looks like a barrel of whiskey, and you have glasses that you set in, and then there's a little tag that you insert next to it, and you write on it, like it's like, it almost looks like a little dog tag. You write on it, but insert it next to it, and then you spin it like a Lazy Susan.
It's covered. Then you cover it, and then you spin it,
and then you open it
back up, and then they're just spun, and you taste them, and then when you're ready to reveal what it is, you just pull out the little tab or what. It's a metal piece, like it's a higher end.
The whole thing looked really well designed and really cool, but it's also modular. that you can take out the circles. So it's set with 4, but then you can take out one of them and then move the other to the middle so it makes a triangle, and then isn't like a giveaway like, oh, I know the order these were in. And then you can even drop it down to a 2 blind tasting where it's just side by side and you spin it around. So it's really cool. Here's the okay, solo blind is what it's called.
I'm going to post the video right here on the broadcast so you guys can see that.
So he's from Ohio, our buddy Troy,
right.
And his sons knew the guys that invented this, and it's at Just Neat Shop. They're sold out currently. But his sons got him one of these because they know the guys that invented it. I'm actually gonna reach out to this guy and just say, hey, this is one of the most innovative products for tasting that has come out since we've been doing.
Oh, it's an incredible idea for enthusiasts that love to do blinds.
And it's really cool. It comes with the solo blind kit, complete with 4 holsters and ID tags, 1 pack of 100 tasting sheets, a dry erase marker, and you can add 4 black Glencairns to make it even more blind.
So you can't see the color when you open it up and stuff
but
like that.
I don't know. It's just such a cool concept. Like no one has come up with something this creative in my mind for tasting that I've seen. Like, we've seen cool products like the travel flask from Oaken or the travel kit where it's like 4 small rubberized outside glasses. You can take stuff. Like, we've seen a lot of cool travel stuff, a lot of cool flask stuff. This has been, do you know how much over 8 years, if I had this when we started the show, I would have used this thing? It would have broken from me having too many and spinning the Lazy Susan too fast. Like, it's such a... They don't even know that we know this exists, and it's just a really cool product that I just want to be like, go check out justneat.shop and look at this. Like I said, it's sold out now, but I think you can maybe get on a waiting list or contact list. Yeah, there's an email list to get alerts when they restock. So just really cool. Check that out. And like I said, back to the
thing about it is, guys, is it retailed for $65. Now, I will say
it didn't come with the 4 Glencairns, but it came with the whole thing you need. You know what I don't need extra of necessarily? Glencairn. Grease may, because he throws them behind him while we're doing shows, and your dog is going to get all cut up. And she comes down here afterwards. But yeah, I mean, talk about it. Fun thing.
It's so appropriately priced for what it is. I will say this though. I would love to see a more expensive, higher end offering that might have more a realistic barrel look. It's plastic essentially now. It's still cool. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, something to. You're going to display it. I want to display it.
This is their very first time.
Yeah.
They've created it. I'm sure that, first of all, they had to design and engineer this whole thing.
100%.
The movable pieces that you can always have them equally distant apart. So it's not like all of a sudden like, oh, it's a corner. I know these 2 are this and the middle one's that. Like, there was a lot of thought and process going into it. And so, you probably find an industrial engineering firm that can, CNC, 3D print, I don't know the terms, but make something. And so, it's made out of plastic. If they could come up with a higher end that is a real wood cover that fits over it, it doesn't have to be the mechanics are the thing that matter underneath it. If it's just a cover that's, I don't know, sell that for another $150.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, because here's the deal. You're going to show this thing off to people.
Yeah,
you're going to, and that's the only thing that kind of is like, I would put this on my mantle if it were real wood.
Sure,
that's all I'm saying.
No, I get that,
but I don't knock them. Yeah, this is their first release, and it's sold out in no time.
So Chris Chapinar from Whiskey Noobs was the guy who dreamed up and designed it, as well as Saul Whitmer, who was his partner in this. So just really cool.
Saul had a 3D printer.
Yeah, that's the only reason Saul got invited. Either that or Saul is like, Chris is like, I have this idea, and Saul's like, I have the engineering degree, so let me handle this, Chris. You're just gonna mess it up, whiskey noob. No, but cheers to you guys. Props to that. I think it is one of the coolest, most innovative products that I've seen come out, and people are always coming up with whiskey gadgets and trinkets. This one is so functional and so cool. I wish I've had it for 8 years.
What other product other than the Willet Pump product is more innovative than that?
Yeah,
or worth just like, here's the deal, like Agent or whatever.
I forgot all about the Willet Pump.
Oh, I have not. But I just feel like it's one of those things that I can point to and be like, this is one of the coolest things that I've seen to come out in the whiskey world. And like big props for them just because it's so, number one, they've got the price point, but they also met a need that we didn't necessarily. Well, it's not like we were like, man, I wish somebody would create something so that we could actually do a blind.
But how many times have we even thought like, is it worth asking my wife to set up a blind for me?
Right.
But this is like, you set it up and spin it and then you're blind. Yeah, you know the 3 or 4 potential. It's not double blind. I'm kind of fine with that. Whatever. I would have done so many more personal blind tastings. I would have done.
Let me go ahead and tell you what people don't get though. They don't get 100% score most of the time.
No.
With 3 or 4.
I actually a lot of times don't like the double blind. I like to know what potentials are and just kind of what I'm tasting on. Yeah. But even like, I feel like our friends Josh and Aaron. Why can't I think of their names?
Are you talking about Stuff and Whiskey?
Stuff and Whiskey. Yeah. I feel like even for like their concept of their blind tastings, which they do double blinds, but they could probably just have someone write on the things. Like, it would be so fun, or they could load one in, I don't know. I feel like there's something they could do with that. And because there's motion and stuff to it, that it could be really cool, even for like a channel like them, which if you don't follow Stuff and Whiskey, by the way, do it. They're great folks. Love Josh and Aaron.
They're so bad.
I think that's their name.
Aaron is cranky.
Is it Josh
all the time.
and Aaron?
And Josh, honestly.
Is it Jacob and Aaron or Josh? Am I saying their names?
Well, his last name is Gill, so I don't know.
Is it Gosh? Is his name Gosh Gill?
Gosh Jill.
That's it. But check them out.
It's Gull, okay? In case anybody's just like,
yeah. So anyhow, and to your other point too, every product we see is not necessarily. It's always like some sort of flask, some sort of container, some sort
something
of glass
to hold your Glens.
Yeah, some sort of glass too. Like even those snoot glasses, which are the aluminum, metal, Glencairn shape, like that I take on travel.
Yeah.
Everything is just a variation of something already. This is genuinely novel.
Yeah.
And I like that.
It's I mean, I don't necessarily want to throw out the word revolutionary, but it's the first of its kind.
Yeah. I don't know it's going to change the world.
Yeah.
But it may change mine.
But you have to understand too, like the majority of whiskey drinkers don't even give a rip about doing blinds. Like this is this is a very niche thing. If you're
watching podcasts and stuff, then you probably. If you don't, then I don't know what you're doing.
Right. And two, people might, be intimidated by it and like, I don't want to do it. But if you're just sitting there alone and you can actually feasibly do this thing blind and practice, I don't know. They have met a need that exists within a niche, and there's enough people in that niche to make that pretty lucrative. And so I'm excited for them. Well done. This is one of the best products, period, that I have seen within the last 10 years.
Yeah. All right. You want to go to the 15?
I would love to, Will. Hit the music. Hey, we finished our sentence again.
Time.
We know that one though. All
right. And we're back from the 15.
Some say we never left.
Greasy's got a telemarketer calling him. I'm pouring up.
Somebody like, do you need representation for a lawsuit?
You in another lawsuit? All right. This is another Chris P sample, but it's a new whiskey, so I thought we'd go ahead and we didn't have an opportunity to get it. Greasy's in the hospital. He got nothing allocated this year. And
I truly didn't get a single thing.
And no one likes me because I'm not a kind sociable person. So this is a Four Roses limited edition from 2024. Chris, thank you so much for sharing this with us. We thought we'd give it a buy-bar pass whirl. This is a blend of whiskeys aged 12 to 20 years old. There's it says 1 OBSV, 7 OESK, and 10 OESFs in it. And then I saw something else about it. Oh, I think it's 220 is the SRP. It's 108.2 proof. There were 16,680 bottles
in CF, baby.
And they
non-chill filter.
Also, they did a lot of them released at the distillery and Cox's Creek. So you can go do that. And then obviously some went out to stores as well. But they had
the initial release was at the
Visitor Center in Lawrenceburg or the warehouse and bottling facility at Cox's Creek. And they started that back in September. So, Chris, thanks for pouring it up.
Cheers, baby.
This is one of those that if I do get an opportunity to buy it, I do buy it.
Every time.
I love them.
Every time.
Oh,
yeah. It just smells. It smells so like robust but delicate at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like you just know that this is going to just feel right.
It already smells right. Does it taste minty to you?
I mean, what is anybody? What is everybody else doing?
Not this.
Not this.
It's easy. I'm a buy. It's at 220. Buy it.
I feel like there's like a couple of vampires in here trying to squirt each other with squirt guns across my palate.
Are the squirt guns filled with blood? Because that's just leftover pneumonia.
I don't have any blood anymore. All came out of that IV.
Oh, gosh. I wish I'd have been there to see that.
No, you did not.
I like to see freakish things. Yeah, here's what they say. It's a symphony of lively flavors that captivate the senses with every sip. Pay your PR person a little bit more because they nailed it. Creamy vanilla, honey, brown sugar on the nose, followed by flavors of ripe berries and tangy citrus on the palate. That's what I love about Four Roses too, is you can have 12 to 20-year-old whiskey in here and still get
tangy citrus,
bright fruit out of something that has that much wood influence.
Dude, I wasn't there until you read it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm like, yeah, that's there. That is what I appreciate about notes. Like, I hate tasting a whiskey and being like, here's the profile. And then if somebody says something different, I'm not like, you're wrong. Yeah. This is the profile. When we're doing tastings and stuff with people like Whiskey Weekend and like other things that we've done, like I say, like, what notes are you getting? What notes are you getting? What notes are you getting? And we go around like we did that with the tastings that we did there.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And literally, like, Natalie would just shoot out something like gardenia. And then, like, somebody else would be like, oh my gosh, yes, you're so right. Like, and so, like, that conversation, those words, I don't, obviously some people are just going to say stuff to say stuff, sure, whatever. But, like, a lot of things, like, if you're tasting those and you just say what it is, it's basically like a collaborative, like, creative project, right? Like, everybody's going to chime in and you get to a pretty cool place of where the people that have been or have said what the notes are and have heard other notes, collectively that experience is just going to be better.
Right.
Because they're all experiencing something from that point of view and that point of view, and it all comes together.
Smell that. By speaking of things I'm getting, and they say creamy vanilla, honey, and brown sugar, but I get marshmallow, which is maybe just a different way to say marshmallow, creamy vanilla, and brown sugar.
S'more.
But I get marshmallow on the
Not
nose.
A burnt s'more.
No, just a ripe.
There's dude, I don't even smell hardly any oak.
That's what I'm saying.
In like a crazy way.
I know. It's not woody.
I know. It's like,
it's got all that deliciousness and other things. Like
a 9-year Knob Creek would absolutely just have 3 times as much oak.
Splinters.
Yeah. Yeah. This is
how
this is special.
They do it? Like, I don't.
Man. They literally sit there and pet the barrel for 12 to 20 years.
Brent Elliott is a genius. He's a mad genius.
What's that stuff called? The Wagyu?
Yeah.
Don't they massage the cow?
Some say that. I've never seen it.
You haven't?
I want videos.
What do you mean?
If there's videos, I want to see them.
Well, how on God's green earth? What are they doing to the cow then?
I'm just saying it's not my internet. I've heard they also hoist them up, don't let them walk around. They feed them beer and stuff. I don't know if that stuff's true. Just something I heard on the internet.
Well, whatever they're doing,
But I haven't seen a video of it.
Whatever they're doing, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Is it ethical?
I don't. Yeah, if it's not ethical, I don't know. I mean, there's different ethics in different cultures. So,
oh man,
it originated it's like a Japan thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wagyu.
Here's another one.
Beer.
Do you need representation?
Yeah, it's because his name got you literally were in the system.
In the system, all over the place.
Do Wagyu cattle drink beer? Everything you need to know. Rumor: Wagyu cattle drink beer.
Resolve the misunderstanding.
Specialist of 120-year-old Kobe beef shop, Kobe Motomaki Tatsuyu, that distributes halal Kobe beef.
Thank you for saying that. Because
most Wagyu farmers are doing basic things of creating a living environment for the cow, not car. Rather than letting them drink beer and relax, they are focused on making the cows live as stress-free as possible. Right, so let them drink beer and relax.
Yeah.
Understanding the personality
That's
of
oxymoron.
and by understanding the personality of each cow and its compatibility with other cows before putting them in the barn, and by keeping the rearing environment clean and well maintained.
I mean, you do
because
want
cows
that
don't
rearing
eat a lot of
environment clean.
food if they don't spend their time in a stress-free environment as much as possible.
Like, do they have heart monitors on these things? Like, how do they know it's stress-free for them? I mean, well, obviously, look at that meat.
No wonder it's so expensive. They got to hire a daggum therapist to make sure it's not stressed.
Yeah, and therapy's expensive.
Yeah, that's why it's so that it's not really the process that's expensive. It's the fact that they've got a team of psychologists that are sitting there and be like, okay, so that cow moved at you. How did that make you feel?
Yes, yeah.
How did it make you feel?
Okay, so eventually you are going to get cut up into steaks. What's your initial thoughts? Just start spitting words out.
Did Daisy get a little too Karen today? She asked to speak to the farmer. How did that make you feel?
Do they have farmers in Japan?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I know, but not like.
Yeah, farmers.
I know, but what do they?
Literally everywhere. Cows.
I know, but
rice.
Like when I say farmer, I have this very clear picture of a farmer.
They don't look like Habersham County's farmers, Grease.
That's all I needed
They're
to know.
They're not growing
That's all I needed to know. But we don't necessarily farm in Northeast Georgia. We grow chickens. Like chicken houses are everywhere.
Well, are they industrial chicken houses? They just backyard chickens.
Springer Mountain Farm, my hometown.
Yeah, that's a chicken farm.
Here's
Those are
one.
farmers. You shouldn't have got sued.
Grease,
you probably between the lawsuit and then like thinking that you're going to need a debt collector from the hospital, like debt resolution thing. Like you should honestly, if I were you, new phone number.
Yeah.
Just toss that one.
All I got to do is just not pay my home mortgage for like a few months and just
not do that.
And then but then I would just start getting those things too.
Right. I'm saying let's not do that.
That's not full-time job answering my phone.
Yeah, no, you literally get a new number. You say,
nah, man, we're good.
I don't need this. I've had this for 25 years. I don't need this crap anymore.
I have a note here to contact you. Says that you probably need some help. Nah, man, we're good. I just opened up an industry credit card. We're fine. I got at least 6 months.
You know what a HELOC is and the Nashville mortgage rate?
I sure do.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week on the podcast. If you want to support this show, go over to patreon.com/thepodcast, where a simple, easy way is also just to subscribe to the channel or wherever you're listening, give it a thumbs up or a rating. Helps, costs nothing, but if you want to hang out with us or support us with a little bit of your hard-earned cash, patreon.com/thepodcast. You can hang out with us on town halls, virtual barn nights, and get access to exclusive events. Like one, if you are a patron, go check your Patreon account right now. We got a really cool exclusive event with our friends at Jack Daniels happening towards the end of February. So go ahead, check your Patreon if you're a part of it now. If you're not a part of Patreon, it's there. Sign up. You can find it. That's going to do it for this week on the podcast. Grease, we don't know Jack.
But we'll drink it.
And we'll drink with them in February.